Hi, I'm here to solve this complicated abyss. It has made you much more difficult than the rest if it frustrates you, if the Ditto or the Wolf brings you problems, and while you watch this video, the background gameplays while I explain it, aside of the amazing addition of the editors are going to be several tries of different teams. A full 4 stars making this abyss. Quiet. I have taken it out with 2 characters. My room as always, I've pulled it out full 4 stars as always. Many other people, it's been taken out by 4 stars, so basically I'm going to give you not a review of the whole abyss. Because I believe that for many there are flaws that are moderately simple, but and meh. A meme of fate here, but the key and important points to quickly get off the And the Wolf, and even the Wolf with several teams of a rotation without having to use Gale with enough combinations or even characters, like Silone no Zhongli or Ningguang. You know the Wolf's heads are coming down very quickly, so leave me a nice like, subscribe, leave me a good comment for the algorithm in this video, or if you have managed to take out after watching the video extra protectors, because is the idea, help you and share it with groups and friends who are still mini. The new abyss, and we go with tips and tricks you already know for this new abyss. Leave like, divinate, and subscribe for the algorithm. Say subscribe with bell. That helps recommend position to the video, that really makes it grow a lot everything. Thank you. You really don't know what you're helping by making that so simple, and apart from these tickles is because I just posted video and there are people watching it and following me in the purple platform, so that you take advantage. You are eating and coming to the purple platform. And remember, blessing draw just for commenting, giving like, subscribing, and worth to participate. All the videos I upload, so the more you comment and the more you interact, the more possibilities. The tips. Well, let's start first with the dot. That's the problem of all the players. In general, the dot has a simple mechanics, and is that it has this bar and this bar here. It's the one that bothers people because you're not always gonna get to fill this bar, so they can. And not only do you probe it, but it receives 8% elimination of its defenses and resistances. I mean, if you get to fill the bar, you're gonna literally blow it off. You're gonna take it off for sure. Half life in the first rotation you do. I think many have realized that if not, you get down the bar and you play to get away when the explosion goes off. Then it feels pretty good. Hard to bug, and even if you have very strong teams you hit quite little, then how is it for? Obviously NATLAN characters, but you don't need to put a kinish, you don't need to get in. Chaska, you don't have to force this if you can't. There are 2 ways to get them down very quickly. But that will benefit you and improve a lot. The first way is obviously with teams. That all characters make multi-hits out of the field apart from Auroron as sub-DBs and so on. And how can you achieve this? Because you can get so much with overload equipment, Bennett Curry team imbued with Pyro, giving more official normal attacks that gives a quantity of amazing multi-hits plus Xiangling plus the Waba casting multi-hits, and last the H-Bruce, that the hits of your ulti. Every hit of the ulti counts as an additional multi-hit, and your ulti does a lot of balls as burn equipment, that burn equipment when making ticks try to insert, for example, Kinnick Bennett, or try to insert Alakino with a Dendra, or try to play General Burn calls, and so playing Emily, then you have it much better, don't you? But try Burn in general, or some Riotsly, who likes Riothersly. If you try Burn equipment, you will see that also with the amount of multi-hits of the burn, and obviously more sources of hit. General elemental damage, even if they are not from NATLAN, the bar will come down, and of all the characters that more multi-hits make them help to get down to this 4-star thing, so they don't. Squeeze of the characters that most multi-hit of 4 stars make right now are the Traveler. Dendro with his elemental official skill, especially if it's chicks, you know it makes more multi-hits every time. Someone on team attack, try to get someone on team attack very fast and without Q if it's 6. But also for the little shrouds, more normal attacks and so on. If you taste all this, I've told you. Overload burns equipment with official Hyperbloom equipment, because Hyperbloom also gives you more multi-hits for each ball, and that helps Hyperbloom teams along with Cookie's Ultin. That makes many multi-hits, or the ulti of Amber also for burns, for example. You're going to be able to pass if you gentlemen try all this, and you're going to be able to do it. You'll see what another story is now. Let's talk about the Wolf. The Wolf basically also has his trick. And it's a little longer. The Wolf basically has 2 combinations of possible attacks that I could get to do it to give you the chance to pull it off a Joeless rotation anyway. who has Ligua Gilonen Shilonen lowers the heads very quickly, or even if you have one combination of 3 characters, because there are a lot of people who are a little whale who have a Raiden, C2, that has a very well-built novelette, that has such an attempt to find a combination of 2 or 3 characters who already have a lot of damage and accompany that combination with a level Ningguang. 20 doesn't need to raise it more level 20, and if you have a character that hits with attacks, say Raiden can also add, for example, that the Ningguang carries Dragon Hunter to increase, plus the attack of your Raiden or even some armed Geo set or something to buff the team. Ningguang bursts into normal attacks on the wolf's heads if you get a core of 3 characters if you are whales. Dot for whales, obviously now dot for free to play more. Chill, the reality is that if you play any of the teams half well built because you carry, more than a year and little in Genshin Impact that we have talked about in the channel mainly, the best teams in the game today are the Nuvilette teams if you don't have Shilonen by the subject of heads and Geo as a Nuvilette with an Electro to burst. Or if it does, burst him and make Electro charged. Now, explain the rotation of the wolf, but a Nuvilette team. A team of Arlecchino can be lowered from a rotation to the wolf than in fact that of Nuvilette, and Arlecchino will be around because I've already got off the wolf from a live rotation plus. That got off a rotation to this wolf, basically Nuvilette, and Arlecchino can perfectly Mavuika. When I get out, I can surely perfectly get off the wolf, even though Mavuika's teams goes with Shilon and Kinnich's teams. Although, Kinnich I recommend it more in the second half. But whoever wants to play Kinnich's teams also bust the wolf in the first half a rotation, and if we want to go for the 4 stars to Tartaglia and Ayatos, and you've got very well built too. It's down from a rotation. The Raiden Hypercardio Raiden.Koi National are also lowered to the wolf of a rotation, simply the only restriction that would have the Pedro well Tartaglia well Furina. Well, without why? Because on the previous floor too, Wolf is the Cucazor that has a Pyro Shield you already know, and because the Hydro takes it down very well, and it's easy to get it down without it. So all these teams, and some of them I'm forgetting. For example, Utao can also perfectly lower the wolf of a rotation if you've got all these equipment well built if they're well built for over a year. I mean minimally that a lot of people have guns at 70 or 80 and thinks that that's well built, and it's not. You can pass it with C0 if you don't. Constellations, and if anyone has constellations of something even better what the wolf phase is. For you to understand it, the wolf has, let's say, that 2 possible phases. Phase number 1 will just be position makes this howl, this scream, and starts crawling down the ground. That's a phase in the car. That you have to try to throw all the altars away quickly, and that once it crawls down the ground. And what is the rotation of this Nuvilette team that lowers it from a rotation without reaching the phase of heads? If you take advantage of that opening is fine, but requires more damage. A more powerful team, there is another opening that is the one you have to study in quotation marks that this is. For people who have teams not so powerful but who can still pass it on, and now I'll tell you a team 4 stars that can have fun because, well, the good rotation is the one that you have. Gives you more time to hit him. That as soon as you start, don't do the howl, don't do the phase. Crawl down the floor and then lie down for a while, but whatever it does is make you another one. Normal phase in which you can beat him with damage directed from afar that you try to get him down. With elementals and others that does not consume you ultis, it goes approximately 25%, a little more life. That the bar you see the threshold that is here, the editors are going to put a very large zoom, and once you have that from lowering that amount of life, there's a chance that by making certain phases there, yes, already put on the shield and the heads. Then once you already have that life, you have to wait until you do the next phase, which is the phase of making the laser with your mouth. And you have to, timing the very well or predicting it, even by throwing the ultis before you make the laser through your mouth. Because once you do the laser through your mouth, you also have an opening of many seconds so that bring into a while. You put in a complete rotation after you took this 25% of life, and it also happens that if all this is well timed after the laser phase of his mouth for a long life that you take away from him. Instead of putting on the shield, he's going to do one last attack that's just like he's doing a ponytail. He tries to stick your tail and stays a moment like this, looking at you, still makes a pose for him. Take a picture and from there take the shield out. That rotation, that phase is the one that you will spend the most time. Give to lower it from a rotation above the phase of raking on the ground, and I say you can. Also complete with many teams combining 3 characters who have the damage as by example, and here is the ultimate trick, full 4 stars if you have well built Bennett Xianglin and Xing Xiuyu. Mainly, Xiangling is the one doing the most damage here, of course, with it. A combination of Bennett Xiangling and Xing Qiu Yu gives you enough damage to bring it down, and you can even play a Ningguan, and you can play Ningguan Xing Qiu Yu Xiangling Bennett and down some kind of ore. Pupa Bloom or agree that the multi-hits of Fischl that is free for the bottom are lowered. Fischl has bow for the wingman, and you're going to blow him up and blow him up for real. It's gonna give you plenty of time. You're gonna tell me how easy it is because I didn't see a Tito video. Filled before so little more, these are the tricks for the Abyss and I've spoken mainly. 4-star Fischl down is extremely good for the bow and multi-hit teams. Xing Qiu Yu Xiangling Bennett the Wolf. Burst but easy Xing Qiu Yu down for the Hyper Blooms, and background you will have had many gameplays from different combinations of 4-star teams. For that you test one of them and I've done it live full 4 stars, so come to the directs. To see all this little bit more invited to the directs in the description to everyone know. I know if I said I took advantage of your eating, but I took advantage of the fact that I'm very rich and thank you for choosing the canal while you eat much care to have very good day, and chai to.